Welcome back to Mega World. You know, these big rigs, they truly are the road warriors of the Czech Republic, barreling down the highway at breakneck speeds, jostling for position as they pass everybody, leaving us in their dust when they're delivering their fruits and vegetables and other consumable goods. Okay, they're just doing their job, but what if, just once, a fantasy could be born? Big rigs racing against each other. It could happen. Here comes 5.5 tons of metal at 200 kilometers an hour. The guy getting rattled behind the wheel is David Vršecký, and racing big rigs is what he does best.
Even though the truck looks huge and unwieldy, it is in fact an enlarged motor car.
David might be understating it just a bit, but he is the two-time defending European truck racing champion. Truck racing has a huge following throughout Europe. The trucks are at least 3 times the size of a stock car, yet they race on the tracks designed specifically for cars. And it gets very crowded out there with 25 trucks jockeying for position.
The trucks are heavy. If you make a decision to pass another truck, there is no looking back.
All trucks have a strict 160km/h speed limit during races. But the speed isn't the problem. At 5.5 tons, these trucks don't exactly stop on a dime. It's not supposed to be a contact sport, but, well, let's just say there are some love taps.
There has been an emphasis on less and less contact. At the same time, it's interesting for the audience to see how each racer fights to win.
And winning is not about to get any easier for David and his race team. Their chances of repeating as champions could hinge on an important rule change. This twin turbo has powered the team to back-to-back championships, but this year David and his team are being forced to use a single turbo like everyone else. A turbo system increases the amount of air getting into the engine. It does that by tapping into the exhaust, compressing the air, and then forcing it back into the combustion chamber. Boosting the air intake allows for more fuel to be burned, and that means more power. A twin turbo system is twice as effective. Now that edge is gone.
We spent 2 seasons developing the advantage, and now we have lost it. Now we are back to the single turbo engine.
The team has spent the past few months crunching numbers and trying to find more horsepower. But this is the day they've looked forward to for months. Time to head out to the track and see how their single turbo engine will perform.
Actually, this is our first test. This is the first opportunity to see the result of our work during the winter. Basically one of the most important testing in the year.
It's a head-to-head test. The blue decal truck is last year's engine. Underneath the no-name paint job is the new single turbo. Both trucks get up to speed quite easily, but suddenly there's trouble. The hoses are brought out in a hurry to douse a fire.
There we had a problem with the oil pipe. There was a leaking little bit oil on the lubrication and get a fire because everything is hot from the exhaust.
Not exactly the start they were looking for, but the crew springs into action. Time is limited, so they'll drain the oil and gas and then begin the repair. It doesn't take long before the trucks are back on the track.
Everything is not about the power, it's about the range of the engine. You know, because this engine, there was an incredible range where you can use because the 2-turbo system. And the new engine, it's a 1-turbo, and we are trying to make the same range, but first comparison, it's super.
For me, it's very important to get the feeling out of the car, to make consistent times.
Uwe Nital is auditioning as the team's second driver. He and David are constantly sharing information.
You know, you have to be aggressive on the brake, and then very smooth, very slow entry of the corner and very smooth into it, and then aggressive out.
Being smooth into the corners and braking at the last minute to keep up your speed puts a huge strain on the brake cooling system. Just look at the steam coming up from those brake discs. During a race, more than 350 liters of water are sprayed on the discs to keep them cool. That's what's in these tanks.
If the water runs out or one of the nozzles gets clogged, the race is pretty much over.
After each run, the technicians pull data from the truck's black box, and the two drivers sit down and compare their laps.
This was hard and this was soft. Here we have the brake, you know. It's free something, then we go to the hard. You see, we're working very close together. I use his completely data. I see exactly his braking points when he's accelerating, and he supports me very good.
Back on the track, and the drivers appear to be picking up the pace a little. Unfortunately, storm clouds move in, making conditions very difficult. 5-ton trucks don't stop very well on wet pavement. The last thing they want is a crash before the season even begins.
Because you cannot control it. It's not made for this. And it's not the racing, then it's a surviving. Okay, Uwe, can you hear me? Please be careful because it starts raining and really dangerous situation. Be careful.
They eventually pull the plug on testing. It's just way too dangerous. But the weather doesn't dampen the enthusiasm of the team. Everyone seems pretty happy with the single turbo.
How was the times? It was better? Okay, that's good, that's good.
They hope to get at least a few more days of track time with their new engine before the defense of their championship begins. If they're feeling any pressure, well, they're not about to show it.
We'll be 100% focused to get the trucks ready, to get the trucks to be the best, and the targets we set up on our own, by ourselves. And I think the pressure will come later on with the beginning of the season.
Well, there's still lots more to come here on Mega World Czech Republic, including one story you're really gonna dig. Where was that going again?